Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Digestif. I'm Sam Mushman. This is Robbie Sco to my left. We just had a fantastic interview.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
It's just, I mean, and this is the point. This is about giving back to the community.
Hey, amen.
People need to hear from these types of characters, and this is a friend who I made a friend today. This is somebody that I respect what they're all about, and honestly, like, this person was smart in a certain field and hilarious, and it just was the flow of it. I think as viewers, as listeners, you will appreciate. But more so than that, before we intro that, I just also, we were talking about just creating absurdities in our everyday life. I'm at the point in my career, especially in wine, where it's time to push the envelope a little bit. You know,
push a little further.
I get invited to these wine lunches a lot because if you buy like a certain producer of wine, and then the person that distributes that wine, if the actual winery is hosting a lunch nearby, they'll invite the people who buy the wine to the lunch, and vice versa. And it's just it's a pissing contest of like 11 buyers there. No one's happy. No one's actually enjoying the food. Everyone's talking about who they work for and how much they buy and how much revenue they do. And I'm just sitting there. I never wear a jacket. I always forget to wear a blazer. I'm kind of just sitting there in like a graphic tee, like a douchebag, you know. And I run. I'm always running a small thing. You know, wine bar in the Upper West Side, now wine bar in Central New Jersey, like a small fun thing is what, you know. And I started just bringing my psychotic wife to these because now, like, they want people to come. They want new clientele.
Yep.
And my wife is technically in the industry. She does high-end events, blah, blah, blah. You could say that she may buy wine at some point. Who gives a shit? And I just bring her. We just get liquored up and just get the conversation going.
Party started.
Anything but wine. Anything besides this really great farm-to-table producer from the Mount Etna region of Sicily. Like, anything besides that we're talking about, you know? And, you know, it turns the room. Half the room we end up becoming best friends with. The other half of the room is brutally offended. They're like, this is not how this is supposed to work. And it's lovely. And it got me thinking today, like, I just want to start bringing you to these.
Let's go.
You just got to, we'll give you a title. You're like an assistant sommelier at Crystal Springs up in fucking Sussex County. No one knows who has that job. No
exactly.
There's
no fact checking going on.
There's no FaceTime. No fact checking. You just show up. I mean, you just wear exactly what you're wearing now. And you know, you just kind of you can make little points like you did when we tasted the Chardonnay from 3 weeks ago. You just say stuff like, you know, the one thing is that this wine is just really fresh. And everyone's kind of looking at you, waiting for you to go a little more in depth.
A little more in depth, but then you just leave it nice and vague.
Nice and vague, but you have a vagueness about you.
Exactly.
Where you would just get away with that. And then, like, I just love the idea of, like, we just start bringing the podcast to these wine lunches, and we're just only talking about the podcast, and everybody's confused. Yes. And we just end up, like, it's the whole beauty of having the wireless mics. We have all the equipment to just do a podcast mid-wine lunch. I am trying to become exiled from this industry. But the point is, like, dude, life's too short.
Exactly.
Life's too short to not do that.
Just gotta go big, bring our wild guests. Just come in, like I said, maybe even bring our guests from today. Just come in full in tea.
Imagine Charlie at a high-end wine lunch.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
He's just sitting there, he just goes off. We're all talking about notes in the wine. We're talking about how the 2014 vintage is a slightly more esoteric in the 2016 vintage, and then Charlie just chimes in about how the squat is life.
Yes.
He's in the Batman Under Armour. Everyone else is in blazers. He's just sitting there talking about the squat for like 10 minutes. Everyone has to listen. It's a small lunch. Like they don't give out more than like 12 invites for each one of these, right? So it's one table. Everyone's around the table, so it's like natural human energy, right? Whoever's dominating the conversation, whether you want to or not, like, of course, the listeners are being forced to right now. You're forced to listen to the person talking the same way you're forced to listen to me. Right? So it's just like, I just love the idea of Charlie just hijacking the conversation, talking about the squat is life. We're all tasting like $200 Bordeaux's. The guy running the lunch is like, Sam, and where is he with again? Oh, he's with the Roots Steakhouse, the new one in Iowa City. He's just visiting for the weekend. He has not talked about wine yet.
And then he just takes another sip, and then he goes, after the sip, we go, your muscles have two choices: either die or adapt. Like after the big sip.
They just like at some point, because at the end of the day, the beautiful thing about the wine industry, right, is it's still very like what's the term? Red tape, is that what it is? You know, like the term about red tape. It's very like velvet ropes, red tape, right? Whatever.
Like kind of elite, kind of like locked off. Or,
like I feel like I'm not saying that analogy right, but you get what I'm saying, right? And it's such a beautiful thing because it's rapidly changing, but it hasn't changed yet. So as we're in this transition of wine becoming cooler, becoming more approachable, which is a major part of what I try to do when I do a tasting, is like, we're still going to have like another 5-10 years left of that stuffy douchebaggery is going to always be there. So
gatekeepers.
The idea of us bringing our podcast guests and you just to these wine lunches, it's just like every wine lunch I now get invited to, I have to roll squad deep or I can't come. If I'm gonna go, I'm gonna have a party of 6. It's gonna be Robbie. It's gonna be Charlie. Yes. It's gonna be Adriana. She has to come. Adriana. It's gonna be your neighbor in the other apartment who you have had intercourse with. So you're just gonna be 2 of them. Adriana and her are gonna sit next to each other, and they're both gonna want wine spritzers. That's the thing. They're gonna sit down. Everyone's gonna think these are buyers, and they're gonna ask for wine spritzers. Who else would we bring? Lucas, probably. We'd bring Lucas. Lucas would look the most qualified.
He would dress a little differently than he's been dressing on the podcast if he came to those wine events.
He would start giving a fuck again. That's what we got to do with Lucas. We got to give him a couple wine lunches, right? Rip up that third-party contract. That'd be fantastic. But, oh, man, we got... This is going to be a fun one today. Today's theme, if you can't already tell, is about fitness. Again, we have a Digestif local interview. Hyper local, super local. These are the types of people. The thing I love about here's the thing. I'm not going to say a negative thing here. This was fun.
Oh,
this was fun. The beautiful thing about the fitness world, I'll tell you right now, is the passion.
Absolutely.
It can be delusional. It can be delusional. It doesn't matter. It can be completely psychotic. It could be, but you can't shit on passion.
It's contagious.
Clearly, someone's gained 8 pounds. Where that 8 has gone, we're trying to figure out. I think there's a pound right underneath like your nipples. I think you gain 2 in each arm, and you gain 2 in like each calf muscle, and I think like your big toe gained a pound. I can't see where the other pounds could have gone. I'm trying to figure it out.
We're building the mountain here.
How do you think the interview went?
Oh, it was great. And I thought, are you inspired? Are you thinking about hitting him up?
I kind of am.
He was telling you, like, you could have the body of a god. Like,
I didn't think this was a person that was going to like be in my life. Like I was like, I'm going to meet them. We're going to talk. We're going to say some things. I might piss them off. Hopefully I don't. That's not my intention. My intention is to have a creative show. My intention is to have a show that is hopefully entertaining, where it's just like a fun listen while you're driving to work. Like that's all we're trying to do.
Exactly.
Like, yes, we for a living, I work in wine, I work in comedy. Robbie works in music. He works in tech. He works in teaching. Yeah. Like this is what we do, but like we just want an entertaining show. And in doing that, you have to be a little ridiculous. You have to have ridiculous conversations. But this guy was great.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
So you're gonna see, I think this go in a few different directions, but you're gonna slowly learn more about Robbie throughout the episode and the type of regimen he's on, because my co-host is motivated.
Mm-hmm. This is my trainer we brought on here.
So this is Robbie Sco's trainer. I think he's openly happy to have his first name on the show. We mentioned it a few times in the interview. This is Charlie, the trainer, and hope you enjoy. Any feedback, feel free to DM us on Instagram at the_Digestif, where we post all video short clips of the episodes. Let us know what you think. But without further ado, hope you guys enjoy.
Enjoy. Cheers.
Isn't he looking thicker?
You know what? I was going to say, when you're starting with nothing, any kind of mass is going to show, but I'm not going to take a single thing away from you. I see the difference. I see the difference.
It's also a numbers game. He's put on like, easy. Last time we checked 2 weeks ago, 8 pounds.
Yeah?
Yeah, so that's something.
Moving on up, baby.
Moving on up.
He's getting bigger.
And we'll dive into on the interview. What's fascinating is I want to know, because he can't really answer the question. I want to know Robbie's workout goals in your eyes, because you're the guy that is curating this, right? So we're going to talk about really what his goals are, and then I think we could see how that correlates to Robbie's life goals and the conversations he has with a few different women, and how he goes about his overall DNA from day to day, and how that can correlate into doing the perfect squat, right? And everything is kind of coinciding with one another, right?
Absolutely. After all these years, there is a process. It was for girls, then it was for self-reliance and self-confidence, and then it was just for strength. Now I just do it for me. I don't know any other way.
Yeah.
And then I meet people, whether overweight, underweight, and I can see that they want the same thing I want. We're not professional athletes. We're not stars on TV. We want to be able to look at ourselves out of the shower and be content with what we see. Be able to move freely and feel good. And I always tell people, first day, the goal is when you exercise, whatever you do, you want to feel as good as you possibly can, feel as good as you possibly can, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, knowing and realizing that that's just not possible. So I share information with you, and then you take that info and try and fit it into your life and steer yourself between those two contradictory poles.
Wow, and that's a mic drop to start the show. Let me ask, Robbie, are we recording yet? Or
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we got all of that.
We got those gems.
Because
more gems are coming.
That's the opener right there. I wanted to make sure we got all that. I mean, that's how you open up, not a podcast, that's how you open up like the new Pope becoming elected. That would be what the Pope says 50 years from now when, we're trying to establish a new world order. You just go up there and, you should be the guy writing the speeches.
So like in anything in life, don't bullshit people. You can't bullshit people.
Well, that's what the Catholic Church has been doing for 200 years. So that doesn't really completely check out. But we'll figure that out. So that's all right. That's all right. But hey, we have good intentions in this room.
You mentioned the Pope,
we have good intentions.
That's why I thought of it. Yes, you do.
And you nailed that, man. But right now, we are here live again, Digestif, local interview with what I want to say is a local legend. I'm not going to say his full name on the show. That's up to him if he wants to use it later. He can introduce himself if he wants. But I'm Sam Mushman, as always, here with Robbie Sco. This is the Digestif. A little bit of a curveball on today's show. The topic is fitness. The topic is it's a landscape that is ever changing, and coming from my perspective as a former college athlete who now is a 31-year-old man with a dad bod who does not have kids, I've been changing. So we're gonna dive into a little bit about what that's all about. But Robbie, I mean, first and foremost, we've talked about your workout regimens, and they're not easy. And you're diving right in. It was when I first met you 8 months ago. You were a young, sprawling, 0% body fat amoeba of a man.
Got that right.
And now you and your buddy here he's shooting numbers at me, right? I just met him, and I'm having nothing but lovely conversations with him. And he's shooting numbers at me like 8 pounds last week. I mean, what's going on here?
Oh man, things are going great. Loving the push, much appreciating the push. And it's funny, like when we started the Digestif, and a lot of what I want to digest is kind of just my journey as we're growing the pod, just stuffing my face with more and more food, becoming more of a man, less of a amoeba of a person, as you say.
Well,
you were bulking it up, getting more in
You're
there.
a very attractive boy who's now becoming a pretty attractive man.
That's what I told him.
Okay.
I told him day one.
So day one, let's dive right into this. You guys met. I don't know how. I'm not sure if I care. Is it important to know how you
cool.
met?
Yes,
it's cool.
Yes,
all right.
important.
Well, let's dive into
yes,
that.
It's
How did we meet?
I met him through his mother. When the pandemic began, his mother
Was lonely. Understood.
I remember her from the gym I worked at, and I remember her face, not her name. She saw me on a app. Saw my face. Hey, I recognize that guy.
Okay.
Contacted me.
Was this a workout app?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Thumbtack.
Understood.
Yeah, so I go and I meet her. She remembers me for the gym. I remember her.
And your profile is a little more than a thumbtack. Your profile is a whole bobby clip, right? That thing's sitting there. That's a thumbtack, that doesn't miss leg day, right? That's one hell of a thumbtack.
Never.
So your thumbtack is the cream of the crop. So you stood out.
So yeah, after a year with her, I met. She asked me if I could maybe help out her son, Tommy, eventually Robbie. And I love her to death. She's never missed a workout, works her butt off, met her children. And
so first and foremost, this is why you're a professional. Everything you said was very well put together, and you're doing it for the right reasons. But what you're trying to say in a nice way is, Robbie's mother was like, what are we going to do with this guy? What are we going to do with this kid? At some point, your body needs to develop. I don't understand where I went wrong. And then she went on Thumbtack and she looked at one of the larger Thumbtacks, probably one of the bigger following Thumbtacks on there, with nothing but I'm sure great reviews based on Robbie's overall gains. And she said, "Okay, we gotta connect. We gotta figure this the fuck out."
I'm glad you said that.
I am here to take your professionalism and just really come out with what Robbie really needs. I'm his friend. I don't owe him anything. You're a professional. You
His
stay
mom
professional.
knew. She shared it with me, and I saw the same thing she did, and here we are.
That's
and
beautiful.
he's still a novice, still a neophyte.
Well, you know what? But he lives and dies by some of your quotes are just impeccable, and we're going to get into some of those quotes. Why a good quote can make an impact in the middle of your workout. But before we even do that, squatting is a lifestyle, right? Is it about the energy that the squat provides to do it well? That's the same energy you have to attack the day with.
All right, good way of asking the question. I look at it this way. We call it the 50-50-50 rule. Research shows worldwide 50% of the planet's population loses 50% of their muscle mass in their posterior chain. That's this portion of the body by the age of 50.
Got it.
50% of the population, 50% of muscle mass loss by the age of 50.
And that makes sense just by walking through downtown San Antonio. You can figure that out for sure. That all checks out because that's exactly where it goes, right? For most part, most people are built like apples, right?
Yes.
We would hope, most women prefer to be pears. Not every woman can be a pear. Some women are apple bottom jeans, no boots with the fur, right? And all that mass is accumulating in the midsection.
Yes.
And the squat's going to prevent that. You graduated though in partying.
Oh yeah.
And that helps you to this day because you know how to get after it, right?
Oh yeah.
Went from keg stands to real handstands. Keg stands to real squats.
But even when I'm out there drunk or high, I always manage to stumble into a 7-Eleven and grab some protein and suck that down.
Oh, man, that's great. So you know about your after workout even when you're hammered.
I know what to eat and when to eat it to look and feel as best as I possibly can.
For sure.
That's been happening to me too, man. Because he'll say things mid-workout. Just be like, every decision you make out there affects how you perform in here. And
You've quoted that to me.
I'll hear those, dude. It hits me I'll be drunk at a 7-Eleven, like. I'm getting protein.
Damn straight.
No bullshit.
Yeah, it was so funny. He was breaking up with his ex-girlfriend, and she was like, "I don't know. I just can't open up to you emotionally." And he kept saying, "Every decision I make in here is going to affect what I do out there. So I don't know." And she goes, "I just need you to take out the trash more." And he goes, "Let me repeat myself. Every decision I do in here affects what I do out there." And then he just walked away, and now he's a single man. And it was a beautiful thing because of one of your teachings have helped him so farther than just inside the workout room.
He's growing spiritually, intellectually, and physically.
Now let's talk about that, right? With a good workout plan, because I want to eventually. I came here today for advice. I'm curious your thoughts on what the best workout plan is for me, but we'll get to that in a second. How important is it for a workout plan to be more than just a physical workout, but more of you said spiritually? Talk about that. Creating a workout regimen that not only connects with you physically, but I assume then more emotionally and spiritually. Is that something you try to include, or is that not as important?
Sure, it is. You can't have a you can't have a clear, healthy mind without a clear, healthy body. Before we get to that, the testosterone, women produce a little bit less than men. So they can't grow to the size of men, but they can make wonderful changes. Plus, there are lots of products out there, both over the counter and not, that can help a woman gain mass, yet still remain feminine.
But it's also just in a different part of the body too, right? Because I mean, just going by when my wife puts my neck into a leg lock when I forget to do the dishes, I learn very quickly that she has a little bit more muscle mass in that part of her body, and maybe my biceps are many moons ago were slightly bigger, but that's really it. I mean, is it just a different part of the body, or is it all together?
It's all together. The women are just dominated by estrogen, us males by testosterone. However, the laws of physics apply equally to every human being.
Fair. That makes a lot of sense. We talked about Robbie's workout plan. We're gonna. It's exciting to see where that's going. Here's the reality, right? I'm finally starting to feel old, Charlie. I'm 31 years old. I think part of my issue is I was a serious athlete for the first 22 years of my life. And then I found comedy and all the problems started from there, right? So, I mean, I took my fitness very seriously. And then once I wasn't being rewarded in any kind of way to play a game, it's tough to kind of keep that same level of fitness. I know enough to go in there and just make sure I stay respectful looking, but I could definitely feel healthier. So I wanted to see what your thoughts were. I have a couple points about what my current habits are, and I wanted to see if maybe you can build a workout regimen or at least like a thought process to get me started. And maybe we get into the weight room together at one point. But there's a couple of things of what type of diet would work for me. The first and foremost, I like eating very late at night. I'm big into that. I work in food and beverage. I will go, and here's the thing. I won't go Wendy's. I will go more Taco Bell. And I will do that around 1:30, 2 a.m. Another couple of my favorite foods are foie gras, pickled herring, and steak tartare. Those are a few of my favorites. So if we can work that into a diet plan, that'd be great. I also believe in the Second Amendment. I don't know if that's relevant. I just wanted to throw it out there. I think that's important sometimes to bring up. Just a couple fun facts. But based on that and my body type, I'm 6'6". I look like an aging dad. I have zero commitments, zero kids. What would be a good starter block for me, in your opinion?
Exercising, which is what you should do. By exercise, I mean resistance training. It could be a barbell, it could be a dumbbell, it could be a band, it could be running up 10 steps one day, 11 steps the next.
Could it be my wife's paranoia? Because I resist that.
It could be flinging your wife across the room when she's annoying once today, twice tomorrow. That's still exercise.
Yeah, she's stronger than me. That's the only thing. She's strong. You'll meet her. She'll be on the show at one point. Charlie, we're gonna have you back as long as you want to be back. That's obviously up to you. But if you want to be back, hey, you're definitely coming back. I love the idea of Charlie being the fitness expert of the show, where he comes in every so often and he can give expert analysis to other people that we meet along the way.
I would love to.
We're going to meet some real fuckbags on this show that need help. You know what I mean?
Love to.
Get you in here and you can kind of come in and you're just like a solid
thank you
bundle of positive fit energy that needs to be in the room, So, but my wife would beat the shit out of me. So where do I start, I guess, from a diet, from a workout perspective? You said resistance.
Yes. Before you could even begin to contemplate doing anything, someone like me, or you could do the research yourself, learn how you move. You've got to see if you're able to move properly. Once you can establish that you move properly, then start adding some resistance. Hold a dumbbell, hold a barbell, and start adding weight from there. And you will begin to see a change.
Any exercises in particular that are great to start with when you're a lanky 6'6" man?
Absolutely. You don't need a single piece of equipment.
Yeah. I just need myself and my positive personality.
Some push-ups, sit-ups, deep knee bends at home, walking lunges. Inside of a month, if you did what I told you, inside of a month, you'd look at yourself in the mirror and say, whoa, Charlie was right.
One thing I love too is like when I'm in the middle of like a big rep, or I'm pushing, and like the sage wisdom comes pouring in at high volume as I'm like rep 11, rep 12. It was like
I know
You're
what,
gonna resist or you're gonna
I
die.
know, I know what that pain
So
is
you
like.
drop.
amazing.
So now we're gonna get back to the quotes. I want to talk about the quotes because you wait for the perfect opportunity to drop the quote. Like he'll be on rep 14. You know he might not have it, and then you get down real close and you just go, "Taste the rainbow," and he knocks it out. And he knocks it out. And then you give him a Skittle, and then you move on to the bench press, and you go and you do that.
Taste the rainbow. I know exactly what he's going through, so I know how to get in their heads and make them lifters. Get up there, and if you're not with there, if I'm there with you, you are not failing. Nobody fails.
So Charlie, the impressive thing about some of your quotes is I've only heard them through a third party, being Robbie, and through hearing it through a third party, I was still very motivated. But so I kind of want to hear these quotes from the horse's mouth, so to speak, right? So what are give me one or two of your favorite quotes. They could be short quotes, they could be longer quotes that you love using with one of your clients, with Robbie in particular, Robbie's mom, whoever it may be. What are a couple of the classics?
There are 2 rules in the gym. Rule number 1, listen to Charlie. Rule number 2, see rule number 1. There's another one. There's another one, great one that I got when I was in my early 20s. Guy Larry LaCondra. Crazy big white dude with the crazy hair, these icy blue eyes.
Okay, so he's committed a hate crime.
This guy would squat. I saw him in front of my face squat 760 pounds. Took the time to help me and tell me.
Oh, he was the one that broke into the Capitol building. Okay. Oh no. Okay. Sorry, that was a different guy. Sorry.
He would yell at me from across the gym while I'd be struggling at the squat rack. Hey, Charlie, nobody looks at you when you're small. So when I'm working with someone and I see them struggling, hey, Robbie, nobody looks at you when you're small.
Robbie's never heard that one before. You're telling Robbie's face.
And it's not that we want the attention, because you get it when you look good, no matter what. It's just in our DNA. But it's a nice it's a nice thing to see your hard work rewarded.
I'm curious too, as a quote guy. I wrote down a couple quotes, and I want to read them to you, and I just want to see if, I'm trying to figure out, what type of quotes are the type that get you jacked up because you love it. And if you want to take any one of these and use them in your workouts around,
hell yeah,
by all means. But and if any of these are shitty too, just
I'll tell you.
Full circle. So first couple ones I got. Okay, here's a good one. The purpose of life is a life with a purpose. So I'd rather die for a cause than live a life that is worthless.
That's a line from a rap song.
I'll read it again. It's more of a quote. The purpose of life is a life with a purpose. So I'd rather die for a cause than live a life that is worthless.
Excellent. Now, it's vague, but brilliant.
But well-rounded quote.
Yeah, absolutely.
Could go in a lot of directions. Okay, I agree. I thought that one was solid. Here's the next one. Living well eliminates the need for revenge. I felt the same way. I know.
Yeah. Probably spoken by someone who went through something bad in life and probably has something dark in him. And
you nailed it. That quote was from Kanye West. You nailed it. You passed the test. Perfect. Beautifully done. I knew you'd get that one right. All right, next one. Without order, nothing exists. Without chaos, nothing evolves.
Wow. Didn't Ultron say that in the Avengers film?
Sounds like
You're close. Like it was Putin. You're close. That was the second one. You were close, though.
Really? It was Putin?
That was not Putin. No. I just wanted to see what your thoughts were. Okay. All right. And then the last one. This is one of my favorites. We just found a letter. We just found a letter. We just found a letter. I wonder who it's from.
It sounds more like a riddle. I found it.
It's from one of my favorite childhood shows. That was Blue's Clues. That's what happened when he just found the letter, and then him and the dog would read. Right? You seem to gravitate to that one more. See, this was the point of this exercise. You never know what could be a good quote. You could use that one in the weight room when Robbie maxes out at a new height. Let's say he just benches now, got up to 185. He was only at 175. As he's going to rep number 13, you're like, we just got a letter. We just got a letter. We just got a letter. He's coming up. You're going like, I wonder who it's from. Rack the weight. Right?
Yeah.
I just
Yes,
want. Okay,
yes.
dude, we can help, we
now-
can help each other.
Yes, you can.
We can help each other.
My favorite all-time quote, though, Albert Einstein.
Okay.
This shit. The most incomprehensible thing about the universe is that it's comprehensible.
Wow, that's a mic drop. Oh. Yeah, that's a good one. And what does that quote mean to you specifically?
That life is bigger than what we think it is. You know, people have this religion thing, and again, growing up as a Catholic, you know, God. I don't think God is an old guy, big G in a sweatshirt, sitting up behind the desk.
Yeah.
I think that we see it that way because we're not evolved enough or big enough or sage enough to understand what it really is. So we sort of tend to compartmentalize religion and God into something that we can understand when it is something so much bigger. So the bottom line is, be nice. Respect yourself, respect the next person, be nice.
Now, I completely agree with that last
Be
part,
nice.
but I also thought it was fascinating how we touched on the religion. I grew up Episcopalian, which is essentially Catholic with no rules, which was a beautiful thing.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, it was a beautiful thing. We were super
Nice way to be
pro
brought up.
LGBTQ. Our church was full of cross-dressers and bisexuals and people that transitioned. No. We had all 27 genders in the pew. It was beautiful. No, it really was a nice thing. I was 9. I didn't know my pronouns yet, but it was an amazing thing to see. No, it really was. And my priest was a girl. We didn't give a fuck. We didn't give a fuck. And she was lovely. And she had great sex with her husband. We had no rules, and it was so great. And no kids got fucked. Oh my God! Spoiler. But it was it showed a lot of good things, right? But you talked about how serious we take religion as this, like, you know, this image of God as like a Midwestern white dude who plays like acoustic guitar on the weekends, right? That's not God. That's not God. God could be. It's a presence, right? And that same presence is, you could translate into a weight room. You got to have a presence in the weight room. It's not a person. Maybe it's not Charlie, but Charlie is creating that energy.
Exactly.
And you're creating energy in the weight room. So in a way, you are God of that weight room, because you're not this person right here. You're creating a physical presence, and on a much bigger macro scale. In life, there's a bigger presence that we can't comprehend.
Yeah. So you'd agree then that there's a lot of BS throughout all religions.
Yeah.
So then, in this business of fitness, multi-billion-dollar, there's a lot of bullshit too, right? I can take any bum off the street. Hey, read this, and I'll test you on it next week. They'll read it, take a test. I'm a trainer. No, you're not.
Ooh, I like where we're going. I love where we're going with this, because I've experienced these people that I think you're right.
I've been around and personal training is just that.
What is the biggest no-no that you can't stand about these amateur TikTok personal trainers, you know, lip syncing Mulan while they're doing a squat thrust, right? I'm sick of it too. I might have made that up. But what is the thing about a new trainer that just read a book and started day one that you can't stand?
When they encounter someone who needs help, a potential client who's 40-year-old mom, 200 pounds, and then they have them do some stupid bullshit curl, or they'll pick up the dumbbell and do a tricep extension.
Yeah.
No.
Work that little
That's not how it works.
Work that little piece of mid-40s flab on the back arm. That's going to do a lot for you, right?
It drives me insane.
I could imagine.
Learn how they move. Use the body as a whole. Burn some calories. Expend some energy.
What I would do with a middle age, you have a client's middle-aged, 300 pounds, right? I would say, let's go to your house, right? I would say, let me in. I would take the key. I would lock myself in. I would say, you get the fuck out. Go for a run, and you're not getting in for dinner until you run a couple miles. That's one of those, like, you gotta beat those people up a little bit in the beginning. You gotta start strong. That might be a little too aggressive from a professional standpoint. What's the version of that in the gym?
I'd never do that. You have to.
I was gonna say the stair machine.
You have to coax them in.
Okay.
One step. Some people can begin with 10 steps, so to speak. Some people can only do 1. Some people can only do 3. So you learn, you watch their eyes, check out their body language. And again, this stuff, when I meet someone for the first time, oh, how do I get fit? What should I eat? What should I do? And I tell them it's like a kid who just graduated high school.
Sure.
He's got the diploma, he's got his little hat, and he just, hey, what'd you learn? So that's not a conversation you can have in an hour or 2 or 3. 12 years, well, this is 40 years of being knee deep in iron and what I've seen, what I've read, and so many wonderfully gifted trainers and doctors and professional athletes. And you take all that, I stand on the shoulders of giants. And that information, I pass it on,
I love that.
I pay it forward. Because if it
on
wasn't
a
for
micro,
them, I couldn't be what I am. No way. Impossible.
I agree. There's absolutely no way. You got it. No, seriously. I mean, a lot of smart advice has built up the brain that I'm talking to right now. That's for sure.
True.
And also,
Absolutely.
just like, this is common sense, right? Your client's Robbie Scope, for example. Can you do weightlifting with Robbie from day one? Of course. There's no fat. The muscle will come out immediately. Let's say what's up. Hi, Mom. See this calf vein? I did fucking 13 calf presses.
Well, slow down there,
now
killer.
Let's say, I'm just saying, like, let me know if there's any merit to this.
Yeah.
Let's say your next client is 3 Robbie Scos in one body. You have like a 300-pound client. You're not putting that person in the weight room on day one. Get them on a goddamn treadmill, right?
Yes.
You got to start with cardio.
Yes.
You got to know the body type, right?
Yes. If you
See, I got there. Started off a little hazy,
If you
but I
want
brought it
help-
home, right?
imagine as health being this gold bar, a beautiful gold or some expensive piece, and it's on a 3-legged table. The 3 legs on this table represent aerobic work, anaerobic work, and mobility, stretching. Without any of them, the gold bar is going to fall.
Yeah.
So I slowly introduce, explain, share information on all 3, and then you bring all these aspects into your life to fit you.
I just imagine that 3-legged table collapsing accidentally because the legs weren't strong enough, and it reminded me of like a World Star video I saw in like Chick-fil-A when like this like fat guy got the shit kicked out of him, right? That's that 3-legged table just losing a leg, right? Just didn't have the mobility to withstand stealing another man's chicken sandwich, and it was interesting. But Charlie, I would put my workout in your hands. I really would.
Dude, you're a big, tall, good-looking boy. You'd have the body of a god.
I appreciate that.
You have the body of a god.
So yeah,
You're
you
lean.
heard it here first.
You have lots. You have great stuff to work with. Stand up a second.
What kind of
You
stuff?
go
Here?
ahead,
Yeah,
stand up.
for sure. Let's break this down.
Dude, look out.
So
stand up straight.
here I am.
Dude, and you're lean. You got.
I have a long torso.
What you have great lines.
I don't have the biggest penis, but I have a longer torso, so it kind of like it can trick you because it will hang a little bit lower when really my penis should start up here, but it starts down here. So that gives me like a 3-inch head start. But what I also have, I have thick thighs. I have those hockey player thighs.
Good boy.
It looks like I should have a last name with like 13 consonants like Robbie does, but I chose the wrong
Like
sport.
I said, the body of a god you could have.
And you know what? My calf muscles are pretty solid for someone who can't jump over an envelope. I actually have they're show muscles. I have thought calves. I have thoughty calves, and
you're just a baby. You're way too young. I could work wonders with you. And then, I wouldn't say that.
Take me to dinner first, but we'll get there.
It's like riding a bike.
Yeah.
Learn how to ride that. I'd help you, assist you riding that bike, and then you're on your own.
I love it. Like curling. You just let that stone go.
And
let that stone.
Sort of.
Yep. I love it, man.
Absolutely could, and you're young. Of course you could do it easily.
Charlie,
easily.
this has been incredibly entertaining.
It has been a pleasure.
I don't know. I mean, Robbie, your thoughts on Charlie as like a regular pop in every month or so to be in the panel to kind of give his 2 cents.
I would love to.
I would love to see Charlie just rip. I mean, we need another person to rip on Lucas. And not enough people are shitting on him. We need someone to kind of. I need you to get in his shit when he's not pulling stuff up online, when he's not producing the podcast to the level that we need.
All right.
I need you to go, listen, if you don't produce this podcast the way that you're going to squat, then what the fuck are we doing? What are we doing?
I'll research Lucas. And
Yeah. No. What he'll do is he'll play his little saxophone. He's brilliant, and you'll be really impressed. And then he'll go back to producing the podcast, or more so, not producing the podcast. And then he might need a little kick in the ass. First and foremost, thank you very much for being on the show. It's up to you if you want to plug anything of where people could find your workouts, this and that, or not. No pressure. But if you do, feel free to plug any handle or anything that you have going on.
I'm very intimate, one-on-one. my email, hunter_rose
Okay.
at yahoo.com. Sorry, hunter_rose5 at yahoo.com.
That's how you know we have a real deal trainer.
I meant-
there's no hashtag.
I
There's
saw
no
you, yeah.
handle. There is a Yahoo email.
That's my
Yahoo email,
emails.
baby.
Real deal.
And the heading, I heard you on a podcast.
For
and
sure.
I'll take it from there.
Now, is there any other Craigslist items that you want to
No,
drop, or no?
no,
We're good with
no,
the email.
no.
Cool, that's good. And this has been a lot of fun, guys.
It's been a blast.
It's been
it's my privilege.
I
Thank you.
appreciate that, guys. And until next time, Robbie, any closing thoughts about what we've talked about? Anything that we want to dive into?
The presence is a real deal. The presence he brings to the weight room.
Thank
but
you.
also, it's like a psychological presence he'll bring to you outside of the weight room.
Thank
and
you.
that I appreciate. Having the ghost of Charlie
Thank
come
you.
into the bar and be like, "Ah, don't eat that, you piece of shit." It's great. It gets me ready for the next workout and the next workout.
Exactly, because I think just like that. Every decision I make, even though I may have pizza, I might have ice cream, I'm at a point where I can enjoy it. And that's what I get with everyone. Get you in great shape so that when you're out with your friends, hey, you can have that extra beer. You can have that extra piece of cake. I can afford it. That's where we want to get.
That's exactly the motto I want to live by. You just
Exactly.
sold me with that
Yeah,
last final
dude.
thought.
Absolutely.
You ended strong, Charlie. I appreciate you,
Thank
brother.
you so much.
We'll see you
Thank
soon.